Here's another Helderburg Gear review, and today we're going to talk about Nick's boots, the best boots made. Hi, I'm Paul Potratz, and welcome to another Helderburg Gear review. Today we're talking about boots, and that's a pretty bold statement, the best boots made, but let me tell you some background. Let me give you a little bit of background. Years ago, I started out, I wore Allen Edmonds. I wore their dress shoes and I wore their boots. And then I moved on to where I did Alden dress shoes, and then I went to Alden boots. And then I moved over and I started doing Edward Green. And if you don't know Edward Green, I would say definitely Google them. And Edward Green is a fine boot that's handmade in England. So a lot of these boots, you'll see a trend of what I'm talking about, that they're handmade boots generally. Allen Edmonds, I don't know if they're really handmade anymore, but they used to be handmade in Wisconsin. Alden is one of the last shoe manufacturers that they're still making in the United States. A pair, and I'm not bragging, but I just want to give you some reference here. A pair of Edward Green or John Loeb shoes, they are going to start at about $1,600 and move on up. And then, of course, I did what everybody else did, and I bought some Red Wings. I've had Red Wings, I've had Chippewa, the list just goes on. And I've had some other boots that advertise online and do a pretty good marketing online. And I've had the Nick's boots now for well over a year and a half, probably closer to 2 years. And all you have to do is Google them. They have a cult following. They are probably not the most popular, but they are still making boots by hand, and they're making them up in the Pacific Northwest. So they're in Washington State, and you can watch the videos where they're making these boots. Handmade boots in the USA is hard to come by, I'll say that. But handmade boots that are extremely comfortable is even harder to come by. And again, I've tried numerous boots, and none of them have been as comfortable as the Nick boots. And I think part of the problem, or part of the reason why a lot of times boots are not comfortable, and I mean, they all have their so-called, benefits. And one of the things, some of the boots that I mentioned will actually have a steel shank where you'll have a steel bar that runs through it. Well, steel never forms to your foot and it never gets comfortable. Some of the other boots that they promote, that they actually have cork, and you can see, supposedly a cork bed, and then that's supposed to form to your foot. But what I've realized, at least what I assume, is the cork just kind of starts to disintegrate and it doesn't hold up as well. It's not the type of boot that's going to last a lifetime. And I think you'll see that with all the Helderburg Gear reviews and the stuff that I buy. Whenever I buy something, I'm always looking at it and saying, if I buy that, and if I want to change my fashion, or if I get bored, or if I get sick and I need to sell everything, am I going to lose money? And I even think about that on my boots. And part of my process is the research and learning all about the company. And if they have heritage, and if they have a story, and if I appreciate the way they do business, then they are going to get my hard-earned money. And so I don't take anything lightly that I'm purchasing. I don't consider myself to be frivolous. It's just when I buy products, I buy the absolute best for what it's going to do for my purpose. And whenever I buy products, I don't want to buy a product that's full of logos and all that. And there's another company that makes boots that I started going down that path too, and I tried them, and the name escapes me, but they've been around for a really long time. But what I didn't like about that is they had the big logo on the side and all that, and I didn't want that stuff. So custom-made boots, Nick's will actually custom make the boot specific to your foot. So you can do basically a paper drawing, you send it to them, and then they send you a pair of trial boots to try on. They talk to you on the phone. You're talking to a real person, which is really cool. And they talk about the fit and everything, and then they custom make your boots. I went down that path at very first because I was used to doing that with Edward Green and John Loeb, all my custom English made boots when I wore suits every day. And I will tell you that it's not needed. Don't waste the time, because if you go to order a pair of boots, just be ready that you are going to wait for these boots. On my Urban Logger and my Roberts here, I believe I waited roughly 5 to 6 months to receive these, and I think it was about 7 months to get these. And I think part of it is that they're hand making it, but what I mean, that's definitely part of it, but part of it's the weight. And while it seemed uncomfortable and I was like, oh man, I really don't want to wait, I really don't want to wait, when that box showed up and I opened that box and I could smell this real leather, I was very excited. And I tell you, I have a hard time, and I've got more pairs of these, but when I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh, which pair do I wear? You can see the Urban Logger is the ones that I'm wearing the most. So back to the custom sizing, custom fit, you don't need to do that unless you really have something funky going on with your feet. If you got really weird, funky feet that are deformed and you don't want anybody to see your feet because they're so ugly and so weird, then you might need to get them custom built. But if you have normal feet like the vast majority of everybody else does, I say go with one of their off-the-shelf sizes. I will tell you though, I will warn you that my shoe or my foot is a 10.5 if we use the scale and I go in, like when I'm buying tennis shoes, that's a weird expression, but running shoes, which I don't wear because I think it's pretty clear that I don't run. But with running shoes, which I find very uncomfortable and at a long period of time, and I tried to do the running shoes, but normally I wear a 10.5 running shoe. You want to size down a half size whenever you're doing Nick's boots. And this company doesn't play around when it comes to the returns. And what I mean by that is size down a half size. So this is a size 10. I normally wear a 10.5. So I ordered a 10 and the fit is perfect. And I do wear very thick wool socks. I did do inserts. I ordered some leather inserts. Normally they have their own footbed in there that is not, you don't have all that plush foam and all that stuff to break down. So size down a half size. And if it doesn't fit, you have one time to send them back as long as you don't wear them outside and as long as they look new and as long as you don't put creases in the toes and all that. You can send them back and then get another pair. Again, with a lot of the products that I look at and that appeal to me, you can buy a pair of Nick's boots, you can wear them and abuse them, and then if you wanted to sell these will sell for as much, if not more, than what I paid for them. That is weird, but that's what it is. People will pay you premium money to buy something that has a patina and is worn, and it doesn't look like they're, brand new off the shelf. Can't explain it, but it's a fact, and you can see that online. So the Urban Logger, which I really like, is the height of it. If you're a short guy, you definitely want the Urban Logger if you want to be a little taller. Look at the size of the heel. And I got to be honest, when I first started looking at the Urban Logger, I did see a lot of the farmers and the country guys and the ranchers would have this type of heel. And I was like, whoa, that looks like a high heel and it looks like a female thing. And I don't know if I really want it. I am so glad I ordered these boots. I have come to love this heel. And this is considered their high arch. So if you need a little additional arch support, these are the ones to go for. But I really love this heel. And I'll tell you, this is layers of leather. This is the real deal. This is not plastic, because you will see a number of boots that it looks like leather and it's a sticker, it's painted on, it's just plastic is what it is. This is leather. So I say, do the searches online, do some searches for YouTube video, and they compared these boots to other brands like Red Wing and everything else, and they are superior. I know I'm going to get some flack in the comments here. They are superior to any other boot. They are better than Red Wing. In fact, I think I have like 4 or 5 pairs of Red Wings, and I just couldn't learn to love them, even though my dad used to wear Red Wing all the time. I wouldn't hesitate. I take the dogs for a walk every evening, and we generally walk about 3 miles. and these are the boots I'm wearing. And that's because of the lug sole. I get a lot of grip. I'm going up and down hills. I just got done doing a convention. The convention was from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Plus I had to walk to the convention. I had to walk around. I was on my feet, and it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I was in these boots 100% of the time. And then in the evening, after the convention, I would walk to the restaurant, I would walk around. So I was walking an average of 11 miles a day in these boots. And as you break them in, it does take a while to get them really broken in, but once you get them broken in, they are so comfortable. They're heavy. I mean, if you were to kick somebody, you cause some serious damage. And when you put them in your luggage, just know, if you start carrying 2 pair, your luggage, if you're flying, is going to be over the limit of the weight. But superb boot, and the layers of leather. Again, watch the videos and you'll see how they put this boot together. It's layer after layer after layer after layer. And your foot will start to actually create the impress, indentation, whatever you want to call it, in that leather. And it's just, I can't tell you how comfortable they are. They are more comfortable than anything else I have ever worn. What I also like about them too is they're rebuildable. So if you wear the sole out, then they become rebuildable. And then if you look at the sole too, you can see this is serious craftsmanship. They are stitched. So you can see all the stitching here, and it's a double stitch. And then they even come back and they put screws. Have you ever had a pair of boots that have screws in your boots? I hadn't. So there is no cheapness going on here. And price, I am surprised about the price. In my opinion, I hate to say this because if Nix is watching this, you sell these boots too cheap. These are easily, in my opinion, these boots should be $1,000. And again, I'm coming from John Loeb, I'm coming from Edward Green and all that, which are start at $1,600. These are nowhere near $1,000. But these are, in my opinion, heirloom boots that you could pass them off to somebody else. Granted, it's going to be shaped to your foot, but they're beautiful. And I think you can kind of feel the vibe that I'm sending you right now. You can't beat it. So again, this is the Urban Logger. It has the high arches. It does have the logger heel on it. And again, if you're short, it's going to make you taller. And so you go to hug your wife or your girlfriend, she's like, oh, you're taller. And it's like, yep. And then this is the Robert boot. The Robert boot is a little more, this is kind of my dress boot. So when I go out and, and I'm in my dress attire, in other words, some jeans or whatever I'm wearing, that I use these to work on the farm. Yeah, well, I use them for everything, to be honest. And then this is more of my dress boot. I know you can't tell, they're covered in mud and everything, but again, double stitching. And then this heel is the Dodger heel. So Logger, Dodger. So I think you should really get both. This is a waxed flesh, so it starts to wear and then you just re-wax it. I think you'll see a trend in a lot of the products that I love is they have to be waxed. This one, you actually put a nice coat of polish on it, and it takes the leather is perfect. They have a lot of leather choices, but it just gets a really nice shine. And again, it's built the same way. Some people say that there's a difference, or that the heel is the same height, and it's not. The heel's not the same height. So when you're in this boot, I can tell that I'll put one on and then I'll put the other one on. This one is just a little bit shorter than this one. It's very small, but there is a difference in height. So again, this is the Robert boot. This is what I call the dress-up boot, different heel. And then this is the Urban Logger. And so my opinion, you need both. So again, I mentioned this earlier. The Urban Logger, what I got on this was called the waxed flesh. And it has almost like a rough out material, which that's a leather that they offer too, is a rough out that's more durable in the sense it won't take scratches, but I didn't want the rough out. I like the wax flesh. And when these show up, they're beautiful, and as you wear them, they get beautiful. This is the chromacell leather. So it's a different treatment. So wax flesh is kind of a hairy looking leather, but it smooths down. And then this is just a very fine quality leather. So what's really cool about Nick's and what I appreciate is they will have limited run where they'll do a run of like 50 boots only, and then you have to be on the list and you have to buy them, which I think is really cool and interesting that they do stuff like that, and I do appreciate it. And I won't tell you how many pairs of Nick's boots I have. I have too many. No, I never have too many. So that's the two different types of leather right here, but they have a lot of different leather choices. Again, they're on YouTube. Pull up Nick's on YouTube, and they do some reviews, and they're pretty funny reviews. I watch them just for the entertainment value, but they have a lot of different types of leather. You have to decide if you need waterproof or not, but you can always make these boots waterproof. And what can I say? They're good boots. So this is for the man that likes to have boots that don't have logos all over them, boots that are unique and rugged. And I get a lot of people asking me on social media, what boots are those? Well, they're Nick's. And for somebody that's very basically takes time and when they're going to purchase because they want the absolute best. And I will say that till my grave, that these are the best boots I've ever had, and I've got a lot. In fact, if you want some used boots, let me know. Nick's Urban Logger and Nick's Robert.